Across the mighty Mississippi from the famous Arch is Gateway International Raceway, where the hearts and voices of 60,000 plus St. Louis race fans will be squarely behind three local brothers tonight who've made their name on the national racing scene, one of whom is winding down a career so successful he's known by just his first name, Rusty. Check the championship standings. Entering the 22nd race of 35 this season, Martin Truex Jr., the defending series champ, up 122 on Clint Boyer. That is a lead that could disappear tonight. 134 being the maximum swing if for some reason Truex were to have an early wreck and say Boyer go on to win. And a close race for second as well. Carl Edwards, he's got a little work to do to get back into the hunt. Of course, he lost a lot of that ground over the last 4 or 5 weeks with a series of accidents and incidents that he's had.
Bad luck, a lot of it.
We'll talk with Carl more about that a little bit later on in tonight's race. There are the rest of the top 20 drivers, of course, just like in the Nextel Cup Series, fighting to get into that top 10 and get a spot on stage at the awards banquet at season's end. Here are the 43 starters in tonight's Wallace Family Tribute 250. Martin Truex Jr., first pole of the season, edging his title rival Reed Sorensen slightly. New track record, by the way, for Truex.
Pretty good lap by Martin, and he went out early, too.
Both Carl Edwards and Michael Waltrip will have to drop to the rear of the field on these pace laps and start at the back. Jason Leffler very confident about his car today.
Yes, sir. So is David Stremme. Likes his car.
And there's David Green, last week's winner, in row number 6. Jason Keller had a very tough season, but he's got a terrific track record here at Gateway and looking to turn it around tonight.
Got Sterling Marlin in the 12 car now, taking over from Tim Fedua.
And there is Rusty Wallace, row 12. Rusty talked about drawing the first number. He qualified first. That's always kind of a disadvantage on a hot day, so that's why he's back in the middle of the pack.
Tyler Walker, Paul Wolf, Randy LaJoie back there.
Brother Kenny. Justin Labonte picked up a new crew chief a couple of weeks ago. Optimism on their part. He'll have to come from row 16 tonight. Steve Grissom, former series champion, back in row 18.
Boston Reed's in the 5 car tonight.
J.J. Yaley never made a qualifying lap today. His car had trouble getting through tech inspection. Time ran out on him. So we'll watch him coming from the back. He is one of the NASCAR Busch Series regulars who's been running very, very well of late.
Well, shall we see if we can talk to last week's winner, David Green?
I think so.
Give it a try anyway. Hey, David, this is Wally up in the booth. Can you hear me?
Ridiculous.
You know, we tried a little bit earlier. We had some problems.
Okay, you got me now, David. Good.
All right, they sound like they're trying to work some things out, so we'll let them go.
We had some problems when we tried earlier that couldn't hear us very well, so I don't want to getting close here to going racing.
All right, let's get some final stories from pit road. Here is Lindsay Zarniak.
Thank you, guys. Hey, I got to speak with Denny Hamlin earlier in the number 20 car. He starts third here tonight. He told me, you know, I might have never been to this racetrack, but I am very familiar with it. This because he plays online racing. And last week, online in his league, he won the race here at Gateway International Speedway. He tells me he was so surprised when he got here at how realistically the track is constructed. Ralph?
Lindsay, Clint Boyer is in the midst of a points chase battle with Martin Truex. Now, he gained 20 points on him last week by finishing second in Pikes Peak. However, he was devastated at the fact that he finished second when it was a race he thought he should have won. I talked to him about that just before the race got underway here tonight, and he said there's a lot of pressure on me and our team to get back on track to get another win here tonight. However, Alan, he says right now with the way the points chase is going, every week is full of pressure.
200 laps on this 1.25-mile track to make up the 250-mile distance tonight. A little bit better than $1.4 million on the line and a huge crowd waiting to see if one of the local heroes, the Wallace brothers, can win the race named for their family. Green flag.
to get through first couple laps without having problems.
Truex to lead lap 1. Sorensen second. Denny Hamlin third. Bernard fourth. Kevin Hamlin fifth. On board Kenny Wallace.
You can see that sun going into turn 3 is a little bit of a problem right now. It's going down pretty quick, but pretty bad glare.
Change for third. Paul Menard around Denny Hamlin. Menard driving for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated has really had a nice run going here this last month or so.
Big slide on that 20 car, that corner.
On the charge, David Stremme in the Navy car down low. That's 6th place he's looking for. And he's trying to get it from David Green. Oh boy, David gave that wall a scare.
Everybody will be doing that tonight before long.
Just behind them, Brandon Miller in the Childers 21 and Jason Leffler in the 32. There's David Green. What a popular winner he was a week ago out in Colorado Springs. Up front, got a little heat being put on the leader Truex. Reed Sorensen trying to work him over. Sorensen, the 19-year-old from the Atlanta area, driving for Ganassi Racing.
Wow, that car is getting in the corner very strong. He pulled right up on the back of Truex's car, getting into turn 1 there. So that car feels really good underneath him to be able to drive in that hard, make up that kind of ground. See, his car stays, look at that. Yeah, gets right up after him.
But that's that old saying, catching him's one thing, passing him's another.
Both cars are working exactly the same piece of real estate, so it's going to be pretty tough to pass.
Yep. And these drivers here, first and third in the Busch Series Championship. Saw David Stremme hooking the bottom. Trying to bring the blue and gold Navy colors a little closer to the front. That's Kevin Hamlin he is passing in the 4 car. Kevin, a former 2-time champion of NASCAR's Northwest Tour, the regional tour up in the Pacific Northwest.
He's got a pretty good car underneath him tonight.
Yep. This is his second NASCAR Busch Series start for Kevin Hamlin. And still working over Truex. Maybe with a run this time. Here comes Sorensen.
Yeah, he's got a good car. I think Truex just going to let him go because Reed Sorensen's car is working really, really good right now at this point.
So first lead change of the night. Sorensen around Martin Truex as they come to complete lap 6. Reed Sorensen, pretty good hot rod so far, Lindsay.
He is, and I would be willing to say that he's got a little bit of good luck tonight, and you can ask David Stremme about that. David Stremme was driving Reed Sorensen around in a golf cart before the final practice today. They were in the infield goofing around. Stremme got fined. He had to take a 15-minute penalty on practice because of what they were doing in the infield. He said Reed Sorensen got off scot-free.
Well, that's not good. But I guess if you've got the wheel in your hands. There is Mike Wallace, the farthest forward of the 3 Wallace brothers so far.
A little bit of that glare we were talking about. Looks like the sun's going down pretty quick. Right there at the start, though, that was pretty bad coming through the windshield.
You heard the engine too sputtering on the rev limiter.
Yeah, he's in the rev limiter actually pretty early. And I don't know, that may be a problem. Maybe he's got another box he can switch that gives him more RPMs. But as this track gets cooler, you're gonna be running faster down these straightaways. So I hope he's not going to be running out of gear once this place gets a little bit quicker.
Mike running an 11th spot, chasing Johnny Sauter in the 1 for 10th. And that the Evernham Motorsports car, the 6th entry. Mike started back in 18th.
Ralph, you got something on the gear there?
Well, Wally, one of the things we're talking about here this year at Gateway is the fact that there's no shifting, something the Busch Series cars used to do here. Now, NASCAR with the new gear rule has taken shifting out of that, and that's going to cause a couple of problems here tonight. One, going into the corners, they used to downshift, which would help decelerate the car. Well, of course, now you're on the brakes harder, which is going to put more heat into the brakes, wear those out quicker, and also put more heat into the tires, and tire wear is going to be a bigger issue here this year. You put more heat into the brakes, you also put more heat into the tires. The other problem is most of the teams are saying their cars are very tight tonight because as they get into the center of the corner, they don't have the gear to shift to get back more grunt to the rear end to help turn that car through the center of the corner. Now what happens is down in turns 1 and 2, that's a big issue because of that down there. When you get to turns 3 and 4, most people are saying, well, that their cars are loose. So it's going to be a bit of a struggle for the teams here tonight.
Yeah, you're right, Ralph. I was talking to a couple of guys down there today, and they said because you're not shifting, you really have to work the throttle and set the car up a little bit different in turns 1 and 2. And you suffer a little bit in 3 and 4. David Green was one of those guys that were talking about it, that you really have to work the throttle, and you got to try to get the car loosened up. And yes, you will use more brakes, and you know, if your car's not working really good, you'll use even more brakes. So you can see brakes being a problem. This guy's going, isn't he?
Yeah, a couple guys tag teaming their way through the pack here. Talked about Carl Edwards having to start from the back of the field because of engine change. Michael Waltrip missed the drivers' meeting earlier today. Michael 2 cars behind Carl there in the yellow 99. Michael was supposed to start 6th. Carl was supposed to start 4th. So here they are going to the back of the field. Right now they moved Carl to 23rd, Michael to 25th. And Ralph Carl is really flying right now.
The car is still a little bit tight everywhere around the racetrack. It's just exactly what we were talking about here tonight. And that is going to be an issue everybody's going to be dealing with tonight.
Right now, Carl's dealing with it pretty well. And, of course, like Wally talked about in our opening there a minute ago, adjustments by the crew over the course of this race as track conditions change may be the key to winning this thing later tonight.
And he doesn't look like he's too far off.
Yeah, just got to keep up with it a little bit. Back at Gateway International Raceway outside of St. Louis, caution out for the first time in the Wallace Family Tribute 250. Young driver Mark Mitchell, a 21-year-old out of Tallahassee, Florida, losing an engine, pluming smoke, probably oil too, and NASCAR officials putting out the caution to check the track. The pit road is open as the leaders came by just as we came back from commercial. I don't see any of the front runners coming in. Looks like maybe Michael Waltrip is going to be the first guy to roll that. Well, no, a couple cars in front of him. How about Stacy Compton, 14th place, going to be the first guy to come in here, Wally?
Why not?
Yeah.
If you're right there, you know, it's always the guys that are going to be 14th, 15th in the middle of the pack. Hey, what the heck?
Well, you're going to have to do something to get track position if you're back there, so you might as well get on a different pit schedule than everybody else is on and see how that works for you. And Michael had nothing to lose. He was back 25th when the time the yellow came out. Butch Hilton, Michael's new crew chief, making that call. So they'll come in and take on their first set of tires. Teams given 6 sets of tires for the weekend. Most have 4 sets in their pits to change tonight for the race. Leaders did not pit, though. Leader being Reed Sorensen and Martin Truex. They've been the top 2 since we dropped the green flag and were under yellow for the first time after 18 of 200 laps. Back around Mike Wallace in 11th place. Clint Boyer in the middle of that in the 2, the second place driver in the championship. First driver off pit road, Stacy Compton, 28th place. He was 14th when he pitted. We'll see how the gambit plays out for him.
Ooh, here we go. Martin Truex taking a look at that lead.
Not quite. Sorensen, Truex, and the gap to 3rd place Menard. And Denny Hamlin and David Stremme, the top 5. David Green running 6th. I'll tell you what, when Sorensen slides up off the bottom like that, that's just got to be so inviting for Truex to try and fill that gap.
Almost looked like just the opposite of what happened earlier when these guys started. It looked like Truex was sliding up the track a little bit, and Reed Sorensen could keep the car down on the bottom. Now it looks like the other way around. Not that time.
And for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, Menard up the hill a little bit. Denny Hamlin looking under him, can't fill that gap, and if Hamlin slips it all, David Stremme is ready to pounce. We talked about a tough race last week at Colorado for Stremme. 5 flat left front tires.
And then they fixed it.
Had a brake caliper work loose, and it was rubbing on the wheel and bringing heat into the tire, and that's what was causing the problem. But
Stremme's car looked pretty good. He was really bragging on it today, so I think once we get some more laps on these tires and you start seeing these cars slide more, the good cars will stay down low. If they can stay down low, hug that white line, they're going to start moving to the front.
that's a situation we're going to see a lot tonight too. Guy tries to take a peek, entering that corner. Guy in front of him's got a decision to make. Do I hug the bottom and take a chance on getting nipped in the fender, or
let him have it?
Yeah. All right, Michael Waltrip, now the farthest forward guy off that first set of pit stops, and Ralphie's up to 25th place.
Yeah, he is, Alan. On that last stop, what they did was they changed 4 tires and adjusted air pressures on the 99 to get that car to come off the corner better. It's still a little tight off the corner, Lindsay.
Stacy Compton's crew was able to tighten up his car just a little bit. They said that the 12 car of Sterling Marlin had banged into him just a tad. They brought Stacy in, gave him 4 fresh tires, made a track bar adjustment, pulled a fender out, and they're hoping that he'll be able to gain track position. Guys?
So if we get another caution here in another 10 or 15 laps, and a lot of these front runners will expect to see pit, these guys like Waltrip and Compton will at best just get fuel only if they pit, and maybe stay out on the track and try and get up to the front.
That track position, talk about it a lot these days, because it is so hard to pass.
Now 3 wide, he's going to back off. Thought Tony Raines was going to have a look there just for a second.
And Tony was another one of those guys that hit pit road on that last caution.
Working to the inside of Justin Labonte. This is going to be back for 24th place. And Justin did not pit on that caution, and so some of these guys with fresher tires trying to pick their way around him. Let's move forward a little bit. Kevin Hamlin in the 4, Sterling Marlin in the 12, Jason Keller in the 35, and Rusty Wallace in the 64.
Rusty Wallace has been gaining on these guys the last 4 or 5 laps. Now he's caught him. We'll see if he can figure a way to get around him.
Talked with Rusty for quite a while yesterday about this race, this season, and Wally, probably a 15 or 20 minute conversation. His thoughts dominated by the chase for the next Nextel Cup.
Yeah, I could imagine that. It's a lot of pressure on that deal. These guys want to be in it so bad. So, yep.
He badly wants a shot at another championship before he climbs out of the car for good at the end of the season this year. As for this race, we talked about it earlier, but Rusty said they came up here and tested because he did not want to run poorly tonight. He wanted to come up here before the home fans and say thank you properly with a great race and a chance to win.
Right.
Trying to work around Jason Keller here.
Yep, he's in 14th spot right now. Looks like Sterling Marlin just took the spot away from Kevin Hamlin in the 4 car.
And Rusty Wallace trying to follow Jason Keller through some of this traffic. Lindsay, you got more on Rusty for us?
I do. You guys spoke about Rusty's quest for the championship. Well, several times over the past week, he has come out talking about how much he admires Lance Armstrong. Of course, Lance winning his 7th Tour de France championship last week. And Rusty had said how he admires him so much because he was able to go out on the top of his game. And that just fits exactly with what you guys were saying, how that's exactly what he intends to do.
Yeah, Rusty told me yesterday that the greatest compliment he's been getting this year is people asking him why he's quitting. Got trouble. Crash, turn 4. It is Curtis Davis. Gaffney, South Carolina driver, running in 24th place and is in the wall, bringing out our second caution. And a tough break for Curtis.
Reed Sorensen just called down to crew chief Brian Patty. He said, I feel a little bit free in turns 1 and 2. I don't think you should touch the car. What they're going to do is give him 4 fresh tires, add some fuel, and try to save on that track position. Ralph?
Well, things are not exactly that smooth with the 8 car right now, Lindsay. As Martin Truex comes to a stop, they're going to go up 1 on the track car and change 3/4 worth of a pound in the left rear of air on that number 8 as Bob Tracy puts the gas in on the number 8. This car is still a little bit tight coming off the corner, and he's back underway.
So this is under green at lap 40 of 200. And Ralph, what's happening with Truex?
Alan, he has no idea. He keeps telling Bono Mannion, his crew chief, I have no idea what it is, but it doesn't feel right. So he's coming to pit lane. They're going to take a look at it, put 4 new tires on there, and get him back out. The biggest thing that's happening right now is Bono Mannion, the crew chief, just keeps encouraging his driver. Don't worry, we'll get it back, buddy. Hang in there. They're pounding the tires to check to see if the air pressure is in them. They pounded the right front. It was full of air. Now they'll take a look at the left front. That's where they thought the problem was. It looks okay from here. We'll get an answer for it.
Yeah, they'll be checking the wheel weights. They'll be checking the air pressures on the inner liners to see if it equalized. They'll be checking the holes where the lug studs come through to see if there had been a wheel left loose, and those holes started to round out. And for the lead, Michael Waltrip, Stacy Compton.
Oh, not enough. Good race, though.
Yeah.
You know, well, Michael might have track position on that because 3 and 4 he was better, where Compton was better in 1 and 2, but I think he's got it handled this time.
So Rusty to 7th, and Paul Menard back to 8th. Rusty Wallace only running his 3rd NASCAR Busch Series race of this season. Ran the road course race in Mexico City and ran the race at Kentucky Speedway.
I think Rusty's car looks real good in turns 3 and 4, right down on the white line. See if he can catch those guys in front of him and start picking his way through. Next car in his sights is the 20 car, Denny Hamlin.
Michael Waltrip leading the first laps he's led all season long in the NASCAR Busch Series, but not only Reed Sorensen, David Stremme closing quickly from behind.
Those guys are going to have their hands full with Stremme, I think.
Remember all that talk about Martin Truex Jr. being in position to get the lucky dog?
I told you he had to do it within 4 or 5 laps, and it took 7 for the caution to come out when I said that. So he had caught Jeff Fuller,
the leader, Waltrip had.
The leader, and then put Fuller a lap down, so Fuller got the lucky dog. But this guy may just get his lap back right here.
58 car is Regan Smith, who did not pit under the caution. The 21-year-old from upstate New York getting set to restart as the leader. David Stremme first off pit road. He's second. Carl Edwards, right side tires only. He's up to 3rd. Followed by Johnny Sauter and then David Green, who got fuel only on his stop to move up to 5th.
Yeah, Truex, I mean, he's got to get this lap back. He knows this is the best opportunity he's going to have right now to try to race his lap back. Of course, Truex is going, please, yellow, yellow, please. I think I see debris on the track. That's what he's saying.
So new leader, David Stremme by Regan Smith. A little
we may get
back there is going to be interesting. Guys on older tires, guys on fresh tires. Guys trying to protect their spot on the track, and some other guys in a big hurry.
Got Sauter there in the 1 car. We haven't seen much of him.
Yep, trying to take 3rd spot away from Carl Edwards there. Sauter in the 1, Edwards in the 60. Clunk, clunk. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, I think Sauter got into Carl a little bit there, right before we saw this happen, and Carl just went over to say, hey, I didn't like that.
And that right front fender on that one car is mashed.
Yeah.
On the 27 car of David Green, the last time they came in, they only took 2 tires. They went up on the track bar. David Green said he had 56 points built up his machine from last week's win at Pikes Peak. Guys.
All right, so updates on some of the front runners in tonight's race, with David Stremme being out in front as we come up on the 90 lap mark, near halfway.
Right there behind David Green is Sterling Marlin. That 12 car is having a pretty good run right now.
Yep. You got Kenny Wallace up to 8th. Heard about Paul Menard's run. And there is this guy. This is Martin Truex Jr. Remember we told you on the restart he went by the then leader Regan Smith. Just wanted to show you that Truex is plenty out in front of David Stremme at this point. In fact, he's got almost half a straightaway back to the race leader of cushion. So if the caution comes out anywhere in here sometime soon, Truex is going to be able to come around, make up that basically lap in 7/8. See, there's the leader, there's Truex, and here comes the leader here, and he's going to get right back on the hunt for a good finish.
Yeah, you can't count him out. Too early in the race, he's got a fast race car. He's doing what he's got to do. That's stay ahead of that 14 car if possible.
It's kind of thing that Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus have made a living on these last couple of years. Never giving up, finding a way to get some position by the end of the race to get some points out of the night when they're not having a good day. Oh, trouble. There's Paul Menard off turn 2. Caution flag is out.
I don't think he hit anything, which is a good thing. And then what we just were talking about, now Truex is back in it.
Yep. Wow, look at the smoke screen there.
He did 4 or 5 of those spins.
A little dizzy maybe. So Truex comes around and closes back up on the field as the pace car comes out, and Paul Menard gets knocked around.
Underneath Kenny Wallace there, it just looks like he slid up into Kenny's left rear quarter panel and kind of spun himself around.
Look at that.
He got loose first on it. Yeah. Wow. Very lucky he didn't get run into either.
Nice job, Michael Waltrip and David Green, to miss it. Kenny Wallace's view.
Take 2 tires and fuel only. They're really concerned right now about track position. That is why they've decided to make that change. Ralph?
Well, David Stremme is in, and coming around to the left side to get the car up in the air is Dante Finger, who was a tight end with the NFL's St. Louis Rams. He took 4 tires of fuel and no changes with that car. This car is very good right now, but it looks like Edwards beat him all the way.
And now Brandon Miller driving for Richard Childress, trying to follow through underneath Yaley. Bakersfield, California native, former go-kart racing teammate of Kevin Harvick, now his teammate with Richard Childress in the NASCAR Busch Series. Miller posted his best ever Busch Series finish last Saturday out in Colorado Springs. That was 10th place. He just took 5th from Yaley. Drop back to some side-by-side racing for 9th, 10th, and 11th. Michael Waltrip. Oh, trouble. Michael and Kenny Wallace.
Oh, man. Well, it looks like Michael just drove underneath Kenny, and I don't know if he hit the curb but that car just jumped up the racetrack, and unfortunately, Kenny Wallace was on the outside of him.
Racing for 9th place. And a caution flag is out for the 5th time.
I don't think Kenny hit anything. I think Kenny's car is pretty clean. Maybe a little bit in the left front. Can't tell what happens. It looks like he gets sideways. The car hops, and he went up the racetrack to save it. Unfortunately, Kenny was there. Boy, Sauter did a good job in the 1 car and missed that as well.
David Stremme enhancing his reputation.
Enhancing his lead.
Yeah, as he's out in front of tonight's Wallace Family Tribute 250, Gateway International Raceway. 67, now 66 laps to go. Stremme nearly a 2-second advantage on second place, Reed Sorensen. How about the leader, Lindsay?
David Stremme is going to push these tires and this fuel tank as far as he can go, probably till about lap 160. It's funny if you think about it that this is the same exact car Stremme raced last week in Pikes Peak. I was in his pits last week. He blew 3 front left tires in that race because of caliper problems. They brought the same car back. They fixed it up. He was so confident about that car today, and obviously is doing exactly what they thought it would. Just behind Stremme, of course, is Sorensen. He is charging up front. They're trying to save the brakes for him, and they said that he's being really quiet. He only usually whines on the radio, is what his crew chief told me, but he's not even doing that. He is very serious, trying to get up there. They've got one fresh set of tires left. Look for them to pit at lap 160 if there is not a caution earlier.
There's a caution, and it's Rusty Wallace. Yellow flag is out, and
yeah, Rusty was doing everything he could on that set of tires. That's the problem when you stay out on those tires. You get to a point, and the things like driving on ice.
Question is, did he get helped while he was sliding
he may
around?
have. You had guys on better tires. That's what I'm saying, like what happened earlier. You got to be careful when you got guys.
No, brother, Kenny got dinged up in it too. That's Kenny Wallace. Well, certainly not the way Rusty envisioned this night ending, as he raced for the final time in his hometown of St. Louis. And let's go back and see what happened.
You see Rusty left your screen get turned.
Yeah.
And there again, when you're on tires like that and guys are behind you on better tires, you pick up the throttle differently than a guy on bad tires will.
Now the pole sitter leads the field to the restart.
It's going to be a, boy, he brought him down slow. Should be a pretty good battle between Truex and that 14 car.
It's going to be interesting to me, Wally, to see what this ace car is going to do now, not in traffic, because we really for a long time haven't been able to get a good gauge on his car compared to some of these other guys. Remember, he had that race back and forth with Sorensen in the opening laps, but
yeah, I don't know if he's going to drive away from David Stremme and Sorensen. I think he's got a good car, but those two guys behind him have pretty good cars right now.
So, Ralph, it was a 4-tire stop for Truex there?
Oh, yes, it was, Alan. As I came down to the pits, crew chief Bono Manuel looked at me and says, I told you we were going to do that. They came in 7th place, took 4 tires and fuel, 12.9 seconds, a blazingly quick stop, and got him back out in the lead. Now, they are a little concerned about the header. You remember, he had that flat right front tire. Well, they think maybe they might have squished the header a little bit, which would squeeze just a touch of horsepower out of the car. But their biggest positive right now is that they're in the lead, and the man that's chasing them in the points, Clint Boyer, Perry, back in 18.
That's an incredible pit stop. That's a good job by those guys to do that.
Yep. So right now Truex defending with Stremme and Sorensen trying to find a way around. Look at Stremme close on him in the center of the corner.
I just think Stremme's got the best car tonight. So far up to this point, I just haven't seen anybody that can turn through the corner like he can.
On the exchange of pit stops, Tony Raines up to 4th spot, Mike Wallace up to 5th. There's Raines in yellow being challenged by Mike Wallace. Let's not count that 6 car out yet.
No, we won't. Makes the pass, takes the spot.
Remember, I told you, Mike was, he was giddy today about how this car was driving.
Good to be in good equipment.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah, he talked about that too. He said, you know, when you're a driver and you're in a car and it's not handling right, it can really shake your confidence. Is it me? Do I not know what to tell the crew? He said, then you come out on a weekend like this and you get in a car like this that just hooks the bottom and you can do anything you want to with it. He said it really pumps you up.
Yeah.
Denny Hamlin by Tony Raines. That was for 5th place. Here comes Carl Edwards. Little calling card there. And here comes David Stremme.
He's going to look. Although the 8 car's been able to get down pretty low in the corner, so Stremme hasn't been able to turn underneath him just yet. I say just yet.
Left yourself an out. And you might have needed it.
Well, doesn't quite have enough there unless Truex leaves it open for him.
There it is.
Just not enough. Not enough. Still got to get back into the gas and be able to slide up a little bit, and Truex didn't give him any of that.
Lap traffic ahead. Brent Sherman in the 10. Which way is he going to go? And is that going to determine who gets the lead here?
He is going to slide way up there. Oh, this is good.
Yow. New leader, Reed Sorensen. 32 laps to go. Nicely done. Sorensen, just 19 years old, his 27th NASCAR Busch Series start. Picked up a win in just his 11th start of the year back in Nashville, Tennessee.
What's going on with the 8 car? It looks like his lap times are still pretty good.
Wally, this is one of the trickiest and most mentally challenging times for a race car driver. Martin Truex is radioed in and says it feels like the wheel might fall off. He's got a bad vibration. Crew Chief Kevin Bono-Manion said if you need to pit to get a new tire, you come in anytime you want to. Problem is, there's 25 laps to go. He's sitting in 2nd place, and Clint Boyer, who is 2nd in the point standings, sits back in 14th. If he can hang in there and ride this vibration out, he will crush him in the point standings here tonight. But Wally, what do? Do you come in, or do you hang in there and try to win yourself a championship?
Well, I tell you what most drivers do, Ralph, that hang in there. You just gotta stay in there until the point where you think the thing is going to fall off. If it's your call, the driver's not going to want to come in and give anything up. So it just depends on how bad it gets for that driver. The driver knows when it gets to the point where, you know what, this thing ain't going to make it another lap or two. I need to come in.
Risk reward. Ashton Lewis, some smoke showing from that car. He ducks down onto the apron inside turns 1 and 2. And we stay under the green flag. Tough luck for the Virginian, running 16th at the time. And checking back on a race for 4th place, Carl Edwards closing in on Mike Wallace to try and take that spot from him. Pretty good night for Carl. I know he was up there racing for the lead before, but to start last, as they did, and to be up in the top 5. And how about Mike Wallace's night, Lindsay?
Well, Mike Wallace says this is the best he's felt all night. He said the car is extremely neutral, and he really did think that he had something at this point for the rest of the field.
Carl got a pretty good run coming right there on Mike Wallace.
Mike kind of tiptoeing around some lap traffic there. Steve Grissom had been into the garage and back out earlier in the race. So this is the race for 4th place. Unfortunately for them, it's going on 6 seconds behind race leader Reed Sorensen, who continues to check out. There's the gap. Sorensen to Stremme, Truex in the black car, and Mike Wallace beginning to catch Truex. Wow, see that smoke?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys look like they're bottoming out, getting into the corners tonight. I've noticed that. You see as Mike goes down a backstretch. Down into turn 3. Boy, it just seems like you're off the throttle forever here.
Whoa, Truex slipping and sliding. And Mike Wallace through for 3rd. Here comes Carl Edwards.
Trying to get by. Boy, Truex, that vibration must be getting really, really bad.
Yeah, this could be big here in a minute. Is he coming in?
Looks like he may be pulling down the inside to come in and get whatever loose fixed.
20 laps to go. Championship leaders going to pit from 5th place under green. This is big for Sorensen, big for Clint Boyer, and big for Martin Truex. Second unscheduled green flag pit stop of the race for the championship leading team. Second time we've seen him do this coming down pit road.
Yeah. Yep, he's not quite sure what it is, but I'm sure Ralph is going to let us know what it is.
Well, here comes Martin Truex down the pit lane. Remember, the last pit stop was a 12.9. They got him out with 4 fresh tires. Again, that vibration must have just gotten to the point he couldn't handle it anymore. It looks like there's a problem with the right front tire. It looks like that might have an issue. We'll get a look at it when they get done. He's back underway. We'll take a look at it. It looks like it's probably the right front tire. We'll find out exactly what the problem was.
Yeah, it is, Ralph. I saw when the car was coming down pit lane, you could see the right front wobbling, so that was definitely where the problem was.
Oh, trouble for David Stremme, Ralph.
Allen in the closing stages of this one, the car that seemed to be so quick early on has just missed pit road, and he thinks he has a tire going down. So the problems are getting complicated for the number 14 that has gone from second and is dropping like a rock now, almost out of the top 10. You can see that right front tire flopping around, tearing up that sheet metal, and he's anxiously trying to make his way to pit road and trying not to take out any of the competition on the way.
Yeah, that right front has come apart like we talked earlier. When they do, it's all over. Starts ripping your car to pieces.
Tossing debris everywhere. That's the reason for the caution flag. And a good night gone bad for David Stremme.
And you know, I mentioned that his car did not look as good in the corners those last 10 laps. Maybe he had that tire going down for a while.
Yeah. By the way, Martin Truex, the second car 1 lap down, so he will not get a lap back. We're inside of 10 to go anyway, so doesn't apply.
Doesn't matter.
Yep. Well, that's a heartbreaker for Stremme.
Yeah, Stremme ran awfully good tonight.
Great race. This is the longest they've run pretty much tonight on a set of tires, so coming back to get them a little bit.
Look at all the damage those tires do when they come apart.
Well, what a mess, Ralph.
Yeah, it really is a shame, Alan. The car had been a little bit loose. Wally was talking about how the car wasn't running exactly the way David had wanted it to. That's because the car was a little bit loose. They just changed the right side tires and get him back out.
Yeah, just trying to keep him on the lead lap here and see what they can get in these final laps.
Mike Wallace is sitting in the second spot.
Yes, he is.
Just a few laps to go.
3 laps to the finish in St. Louis. Reed Sorensen, Mike Wallace, Carl Edwards.
Oh boy, he got a good restart. 41 hit. That's what he needed to do. Not have Mike on his bumper there in turn 1 is a relief.
Trouble in the back of the field. Now they all straightened it out. Had a little bumper tag going in turn 2. Thought we might see a caution. Boston Reed got bumped in the back. You see the big bow up in the back bumper of his Hendrick Chevy.
Well, Mike Wallace got through 3 and 4 pretty good.
2 laps to go. Sorensen able to open the gap a little bit on Mike Wallace.
Yeah, that car's been pretty strong, especially since his last pit stop. Well, Carl Edwards is starting to make some ground on Mike Wallace.
And we come to the white flag. And the final lap tonight here in St. Louis. Sorensen looking for his second NASCAR Busch Series win. Hard to believe a kid 19 years old in his first season in the Busch Series could be thinking championship, but he is. He's got a good team. Obviously, the kid's fast, and he's going to gain a whopping pile of points on Martin Truex Jr. tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely going to shake the points up tonight with Martin having those troubles.
Sorensen's going to lead the most laps tonight, and he's going to win the race as the 19-year-old from Forest Park, Georgia, takes his second NASCAR Busch Series win. Sorensen winning the Wallace Family Tribute 250 by 4 car lengths over Mike Wallace. What a job. Took the lead for the final time with 33 laps to go. Nice move on Martin Truex Jr. in lap traffic. And the Ganassi Racing team putting the car under the kid to get the job done. Truex is going to come home 26th. Reed Sorensen, the winner's in victory lane. Ralph?
Oh, yeah, he is, and he's spraying water all over the place and jumping up and down. This young 19-year-old is excited. Let's get in here. All right, Reed, guess what? You're third in points, but you've closed with an 84 of Martin Truex. This points chase is going to get tight. As a 19-year-old, can you believe you're in this hunt?
I'm just trying to take this win in right now. The first one, I didn't even know what to do, and we're going to celebrate this one, I'll tell you that. We have a home 1, 2, 3 in the car. Both wins we've had, we haven't had discount tire on the car, so hopefully we'll get one with them. But I tell you what, this crew's awesome. We came back from not running good for 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and hopefully we can get a couple more of these, and we're going to go after that championship.
How are you going to get them?
How am I going to what?
How are you going to do that?
I don't know. We try every week, and sometimes you like this, and sometimes you run 15th. So it's a lot of competition out here. Everybody raced real clean tonight, and hopefully I'll be back in victory lane soon.
The runner-up is our hometown favorite, Mike Wallace. Mike, how were you able to gain that much position there at the end?
Well, just a really good race car, you know, and I'd like to thank Ray Everham and all of Everham Motorsports for the opportunity to drive this Dodge. It run extremely well. Thank Ragu, Unilever. You know, this car's had a lot of drivers in it this year. They've given me the opportunity to drive it. Last time I run 8th. I told them yesterday we had a car close enough to win it and being able to win the race, and we come up just a hair short. But really, really happy with everything that's went on here this weekend, all the week.
Championship standings. Truex's lead significantly trimmed over Clint Boyer. Been a wonderful night here in St. Louis, and in the end, the 19-year-old Reed Sorensen coming away with his second NASCAR Busch Series win after that pass on Martin Truex Jr. with 33 laps to go. Don't forget, next weekend at Indy, we start at 6 Eastern on Saturday with Bud Pole qualifying for the Brickyard.